Fenty is doing a limited restock of the Arcane collection, so I thought we would go ahead and do a deep dive on the pieces that I have. This truly is one of my favorite collections that Fenty has come out with, and I really wish that some of the pieces in this collection were permanent, especially some of the shades. At the time that I'm making this video, I'm not actually sure which pieces are going to be restocked. So just in case, I wanted to swatch and try on everything that I have. As you can see, the artwork on each of the pieces is really impressive. I really love all of the details, which is part of the reason why I've even kept the packaging. As a huge fan of the show and of Fenty, I couldn't bring myself to get rid of anything. Now, the pieces that I have from the original collection are the 5 Gloss Bomb Luminizers, the highlighter palette, the Diamond Bomb, the multi-chrome eyeliner, and the bright blue Cobalt mascara. This collection included 5 Gloss Bomb Luminizers. That is, of course, the OG Gloss Bomb formula. These are the 5 shades, and as you can see, all of the caps are a sort of mattified gold. And that's the main difference from the components to the normal components. The first shade that we have is called Morphic Melt. This was one of my favorite glosses from the collection. As you can see, it is quite similar to a shade like Diamond Milk, but it does have some subtle differences. Actually, I like this shade more because it's got more multicolored sparkles, especially pink and green. It just makes it a little bit more interesting to me, a little bit more angelic, and just ever so slightly more dimensional and sparkly. I do feel like if you have Diamond Milk though, you could probably forgo this shade. You're probably not going to notice a huge difference. In this swatch comparison, I have Morphic Melt closer to the wrist and Diamond Milk right underneath. Okay, the next shade we have is called Rogue on Riches. This is actually one of the most unique gloss bombs that I've seen. I would describe it as a sort of tan nude shade. It's got a light to medium opacity and a very subtle pink sparkle. It was one of the glosses I didn't hear people talking about very often, but definitely not one that I've seen too many other gloss bomb shades like before this. If you're looking for a good day-to-day shade without much sparkle, this could be a good option. The next shade I have is called Risky Rulin, and this is a really pretty kind of gold sparkly gloss bomb. I don't think that we have any gloss bomb luminizers like this shade. There are maybe 1 or 2 that could be comparable in the gloss bomb oil formula, especially a shade like Superfine Sugar. Now, I will say I do find the formula of the oil and the original gloss bomb to be pretty different, but the shades themselves are definitely somewhat similar. The next shade I have is called Rebel Razor, and I would describe this shade as a hot berry pink. You have a sort of blue-purple sparkle throughout, which I think you'll be able to see in the macro swatch on my hand. The sparkle particles themselves are small, and if you're wondering how a shade like this compares to Fuchsia Flex is a little bit deeper, and the sparkle particles in it are a little bit larger, like other glosses that are in the Fantasy Gloss Bomb line. All of the gloss bombs that have names that end with Fantasy have a little bit more of an amped up sparkle. And then, of course, last but not least, we have the shade Kaboom. This is my absolute favorite. It's the only kind of black gloss bomb that Fenty has ever done. The goth girl in me definitely loves this shade. They did come out with a shade that was gray called Major Flex, but this one has a little bit more depth. You can tell that that one is more of a gunmetal and this one is more of a black tone shade, but they do give similar vibes. But of course, the problem is that even Major Flex was limited edition and no longer in stock, so you can't currently get either Kaboom or Major Flex. Here is what Kaboom looks like fully applied. I actually really like how it looks like all on its own, but of course I do think it would also look really nice with a really deep liner. Here is what all 5 shades look like swatched to my arm. As you can see, you get a really great variety from light to deep shades. Apparently, Fenty received an incredible amount of requests and feedback asking for the Arcane glosses to come back, and I'm not surprised. I mean, you get some really cool shades, especially with Kaboom. Probably just a sign they need to make some more cool and interesting shades in the future. Okay, the next product that I'm going to swatch and try on is the Diamond Balm that was in the collection. There's only one shade. It's called Golden Ruler. And the good thing is that currently you can get a gold diamond balm. So even if this happens to not be restocking, or if you wanted to get a permanent shade, I would strongly consider Trophy Wife. For those curious, the tone of gold between Trophy Wife and Golden Ruler is very similar, but one of the main differences between Golden Ruler and Trophy Wife is that Golden Ruler is definitely less sparkly. So if that's a finish that you happen to prefer, this could be a good option. I actually made a short where I'm comparing a lot of my gold diamond balms, so I'm going to go ahead and link it in the cards. Okay, the next product I have is a highlighter palette, and all of the highlighters in this palette are Killawatt foil highlighters. I really hope this little palette restocks because it's such a great value in that you get 4 shades. The Killawatt highlighters are expensive and you get so much product, so it's really nice to have some variety in my opinion. I want to say that all 4 of the shades in this palette are previously existing. I had tried 2 of them, the pink one and the gold one. I think those are the 2 shades that they're most known for, but here is what all 4 shades look like swatched on my fingertips. In general, as the name implies, you get a much more kind of opaque and foiled formula than you do with the diamond balms that are a little bit more about a PC sparkle. And by PC, I mean a sort of fine topper-like sparkle. The first shade in the palette that we have is called Chills. I would describe this as an icy white, and on my skin tone, you do have to be pretty light-handed with this one, just so it doesn't look too stark, but actually, it's a really pretty shade. In general, I think Fenty has some really beautiful highlighters. I wish that they would do palettes like this more often. This Killawatt foil formula also makes for beautiful eyeshadow because it is more foiled, more opaque. So you can definitely use it that way as well. But here is what it looks like fully applied. I actually like this icy white highlighter a lot more than I expected to. The next shade we have in the palette is called Girl Next Door, and this is, I would say, most different from the other shades in terms of texture. Hopefully you can see that right away when I swatch it. It's definitely the least sparkly, the smoothest, also the least opaque. I would describe the shade itself to be kind of a baby nude pink. I actually really like highlighters like this, especially if you're going for a very natural highlight, one that doesn't look sparkly, one that looks smoother. I actually did a video where I talk about cream highlighters without sparkle, so I definitely need to do the powder equivalent of that. Here is what that shade looks like fully applied. Ooh, I absolutely love this one. The next shade we have is the cult classic What a Brat. I would describe this shade as a foiled baby pink. Texture-wise, it's very foiled, very opaque, just like the first shade that I swatched and tried on. I think this shade is so iconic because it is so flattering on a wide range of skin tones. You can see how it complements my deep medium skin, and I also feel like this is the kind of shade that would also complement lighter skin tones as well. And here is what a Brat looks like fully applied. I've heard a lot of people tell me that they love wearing this shade as an eyeshadow as well. Last but not least, we have the shade Trophy Wife. This is another cult classic. I would describe it as a bright yellow gold, and again, the texture on this one is very similar to Chills and to What a Brat. It's definitely very foiled, very pigmented, and very opaque. I'm swatching it with my finger just so you can see what it looks like, but if you wanted to get a lighter dusting of this formula on your skin, you could totally apply it with a brush as well, and it works really well like that too. Here's what the shade Trophy Wife looks like fully applied. If you've tried the Killawatt foil formula, definitely let me know which shades you've tested out and which are your favorite. Okay, the last piece in this collection that I'm going to talk about is this kind of gel multi-chrome eyeliner. And this only came in one shade, I believe. So I would describe this shade as a pinky red with a strong green shift. Admittedly, this isn't the best lighting for seeing that green shift, but in terms of the formula, it's really nice. It glides on and it sets down and you get a good precision with it. Okay, now that we've had a chance to go through everything, including swatches and try-ons of all of the items that I have from the Arcane collection that launched last year, I'd really love to hear in the comments what pieces of the collection you're going to try to pick up. Let me know if you were able to snag anything last year and you're hoping to re-up on some of your favorites. Personally, I am a little bit nervous that this isn't going to be a full restock, but I certainly hope that it is because there's so many people that really wanted to get their hands on pieces from this collection, and in my opinion, it's a really nice collection. My own personal favorites from this collection are the gloss bombs and the highlighter palette. I really love that with the highlighter palette you get the artwork from Arcane on the component itself. This collab was so successful that I really hope to see Fenty do another collab in the future. Let me know who you hope that they collab with. As always, I hope you found this video helpful. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.